Wiring a light switch seems so simple, right? It's one of those classic starter DIY projects. But honestly, it's the tiny little details that can make the difference between a job that's safe and one that's a hidden fire hazard. So today, we are going to dig into the most common mistakes people make and, more importantly, show you how to do it right every single time. And yeah, let's be really clear about what's at stake here. This isn't just about your lights flickering. A loose connection can arc, that's electricity jumping through the air, and that can absolutely cause a fire. Getting this right is a serious, serious safety issue. When you look at almost any DIY electrical project, the single biggest risk, hands down, is a poor connection. So that's our whole mission today. We're going to hunt down what causes a bad connection and learn the super simple techniques to make sure every single one is solid, secure, and safe. Okay, but before we even dream of touching a wire, this is the first step. It is non-negotiable. Head to your breaker box, find the right circuit, and shut that breaker off. And then, and this is key, always go back to the switch and double check with a tester that the power is really, truly off. Safety first, always. All right, so the power's off, we're good to go. Let's dive into the first and maybe most common mistake. It all comes down to the simple act of tightening a screw. And believe it or not, the direction you wrap your wire makes a world of difference. So let's break this down. A lot of people will wrap the wire around the screw counterclockwise. But think about it. You tighten a screw by turning it clockwise, right? So as you're tightening, the screw head is literally pushing the wire out from under it. The connection might feel a little snug at first, but it's actually working against itself, and it will loosen over time. Now watch what happens when you do it the right way. You wrap the hook clockwise, the same direction the screw turns. Now as you tighten, the screw grabs that wire and pulls it in, cinching it down for a rock-solid connection. It's such a small change, but it creates a bond that just won't quit. Okay, next up is another detail where being precise really, really matters, and that's stripping the plastic in solution off the wire. I call this the Goldilocks rule. You don't want too much, you don't want too little, you need to get it just right. So how do you find that just right spot? Well, here's a fantastic pro tip that's literally hiding in plain sight. If you flip over most switches or outlets, you'll find what's called a strip gauge. It's a little line or groove that shows you the exact length of insulation to take off. It's like a built-in cheat sheet. And using that gauge helps you avoid two really big problems. If you strip too little, the plastic insulation gets pinched under the screw. Now you don't have a good metal-on-metal connection and you risk arcing. But if you strip too much, you've got all this extra bare wire exposed in the box, which is a major shock or short circuit hazard. Okay, let's talk about something that causes a lot of arguments in the DIY world. It's a feature you see on a ton of basic switches, those little push-in holes on the back, also known as backstabs. They're quick, for sure, but are they a good idea? So let's just lay it all out. Backstabbing is crazy fast. You just strip the wire and shove it in. Done. The screw terminals on the side, well, they take a little more time. You gotta make the hook and tighten it down. But here's the crucial difference. The backstab uses a tiny little internal spring to make contact. The screw provides direct, powerful mechanical pressure. And that's why, even though they're technically allowed by code, pretty much every pro will tell you to use the screws. The real problem is that little spring. Over time, with heating and cooling, it just gets weak, and that connection gets loose. This is one of the most common reasons people have flickering lights or an outlet that just randomly stops working one day. It's a known point of failure that you can so easily avoid. So if you want to skip those potential headaches and install something that's way more reliable, it's totally worth thinking about a small upgrade in the actual switch you're buying. And this is where you can really see the difference between a standard, cheap, residential-grade switch and a commercial-grade one. The residential one is inexpensive and almost always has those backstab holes. A commercial-grade switch, though, feels heavier, it's built tougher, and it usually has a much better connection system called backwiring. Now pay attention here because this is super important. Backwiring is not the same as backstabbing. They sound similar, but they're worlds apart. With backwiring, you insert a straight wire into a port in the back, but then you tighten the screw on the side. When you do that, it pushes a metal plate down that clamps onto the wire like a vise. You get the speed of using a straight wire with the security of a screw terminal. It's really the best of both worlds. So let's just wrap this all up. It really just comes down to 3 simple rules for a perfect connection every time. Rule number 1, always wrap your wire clockwise. Rule number 2, use the strip gauge on the back of the device to take off the perfect amount of insulation. And rule number 3, For the best, most reliable connection, always use the screw terminals or an upgraded backwired switch instead of the backstabs. You see, mastering these small details is what really takes your DIY projects to the next level. When you know not just what to do, but why you're doing it, that's where you get real confidence. So now that you've got these pro tips in your back pocket, what's the next project you're ready to tackle?